Virgo, this week is about learning how to stay intelligent in the presence of uncertainty. The moon is your card, and that can feel uncomfortable because your instinct is often to clarify, organize, verify, and improve. The moon does not give you a clean spreadsheet. It gives you partial light. It asks whether you can move carefully without forcing certainty where certainty does not yet exist. The cosmic weather for this reading is intentionally sparse. No verified astrological events or house map transits were supplied for August 26th through September 1st, so I will not invent a celestial explanation for what you may be feeling. The tarot card carries the message by itself, and the moon becomes your primary lens. Your card is the moon. The moon speaks of ambiguity, intuition, projection, dreams, fear, imagination, hidden information, and the strange territory between what is sensed and what is known. It is not automatically a warning that something is wrong. It is a warning against pretending you know more than you do. For Virgo, the temptation under this card can be to solve uncertainty by thinking harder. But some questions are not solved by more analysis. They are solved by better observation over time. Your central thesis is, not every uncertainty is a problem to solve today. In love, the moon asks you to separate facts from interpretations. If you are partnered, notice where your mind has filled in missing information. A delayed response, a change in tone, a quiet evening, or an unresolved conversation can become a story very quickly. Before reacting to the story, identify what actually happened. Then ask a direct question if one is needed. Emotional intelligence is not mind reading. It is the ability to remain curious when anxiety wants a verdict. If you are single, this card can make attraction feel especially imaginative. You may project possibility onto someone before enough evidence exists, or you may project danger because a past experience taught you to anticipate disappointment. Neither projection makes you foolish. It makes you human. The work is to notice when fantasy is doing the job of information. In work, the moon can appear when instructions are unclear, priorities are shifting, politics are difficult to read, or a project is still forming. Do not panic because the path is incomplete. Ask better questions. Document assumptions. Confirm what matters. If you do not know, say you do not know. Virgo competence becomes stronger when it includes the competence to identify uncertainty instead of hiding it behind over-preparation. This is also a useful week to pay attention to subtle signals in your work without treating every signal as proof. A pattern in feedback, a recurring delay, or a vague discomfort around a process may deserve investigation. The moon says, look again, not jump to a conclusion. With money, avoid decisions based purely on fear, fantasy, or incomplete information. If something sounds unusually urgent, unusually profitable, or unusually disastrous, slow down and verify. Read the details. Check the numbers. If you cannot understand the terms, do not let embarrassment pressure you into pretending that you do. The moon favors caution when visibility is low. For health and energy, this card emphasizes sensitivity. Your energy may be affected by overstimulation, inconsistent sleep, emotional rumination, or the simple strain of trying to keep too many variables under control. Do not use the card to diagnose anything. Use it as a reminder to notice patterns gently. Track what helps you feel more regulated and what makes your mind noisier. Your body may need fewer inputs before it needs another optimization plan. For your week day by day, use the days as observation points rather than predictions. On Wednesday, write down one situation that feels unclear. Divide a page into 3 headings: facts, fears, unknowns. Put every thought into the correct column. This immediately reduces the pressure to treat fear as evidence. On Thursday, ask one clarifying question you have been avoiding because you thought you should already know the answer. Clarity gained through communication is more useful than certainty manufactured alone. On Friday, notice one recurring emotional trigger without trying to fix it immediately. What happens before it? What story follows it? Curiosity can reveal a pattern that criticism would only bury. On Saturday, reduce noise. Give yourself a period with fewer notifications, fewer opinions, fewer inputs, and fewer attempts to solve your entire life. The moon often becomes easier to navigate when external stimulation decreases. On Sunday, pay attention to imagination in both directions. What beautiful possibility are you dismissing because you cannot prove it yet? What frightening possibility are you treating as inevitable without evidence? Hold both more lightly. On Monday, choose one practical action that is safe even if you still do not know the full answer. You can request information, organize documents, rest, set a temporary boundary, or delay a commitment. Uncertainty does not mean helplessness. On Tuesday, review what became clearer naturally over the course of the week. Notice whether time gave you information that force could not. Let that become evidence that you do not always need immediate resolution. Your 3 journal prompts are these. First prompt: which current fear is based on evidence, and which part is being supplied by my imagination? Second prompt: where do I demand certainty because uncertainty makes me feel out of control? Third prompt: what would careful curiosity look like if I stopped treating every unanswered question as an emergency? For your weekly guidance, create a moon log for 7 nights. Before bed, write exactly 3 short lines: what I know, what I suspect, and what I am willing to leave unanswered tonight. Keep each line to 1 sentence. Do not analyze the entries until Tuesday. At the end of the week, read them in order and notice what changed. Which suspicions became facts? Which fears disappeared? Which unknowns remained harmless? This exercise gives you direct evidence of how uncertainty evolves without constant intervention. The deeper lesson is that discernment and certainty are not the same thing. Discernment can function with incomplete information. It can say, I do not know exactly what this means, but I know I need more time. It can say, I cannot prove that something is wrong, but I also do not have enough evidence to commit. It can say, this feeling matters, but I will investigate before I obey it. That is mature intuition. Virgo, you do not need to become less analytical. The moon asks you to make analysis more honest. Include the unknown. Include emotion. Include the possibility that your first explanation is not the final one. Precision becomes more powerful when it can tolerate blank spaces. There may also be something beautiful hidden in this week's ambiguity. A creative idea, a dream, a subtle desire, or a new understanding may not arrive in a form you can immediately categorize. Do not reject it just because it is not yet practical. Some things need to be felt before they can be organized. Give the emerging thought enough room to become more specific on its own. The moon also invites you to revise your relationship with mistakes. When visibility is low, some choices will be imperfect simply because information is incomplete. That does not mean you failed at discernment. Good judgment is not the ability to predict everything, it is the ability to notice, update, and respond when new information appears. Give yourself permission to make provisional decisions. A temporary answer can be intelligent when it is labeled honestly as temporary. You do not need to turn every choice into a permanent verdict. Another useful practice is to notice the language you use when you are anxious. Words like always, never, obviously, everyone, and nothing can make uncertainty sound like certainty. When you catch one of those words, pause and ask whether it is literally accurate. Replacing everything is unclear with this one part is unclear can change your nervous system's relationship with the situation. Precision is calming when it tells the truth about the size of the unknown. You may find that the most useful phrase this week is, "I need more information." It is not indecision when it is true. It is a boundary against premature certainty. Give yourself a reasonable point at which you will review the question again, then return your attention to what is actually available to do now. Your weekly affirmation is, "I respect what I know, question what I assume, and allow clarity to arrive without forcing it." Carry that with you through September 1st. Subscribe so your next weekly reading is waiting for you. Trust the timing. The stars have spoken.